How a college misfit founded one of the biggest sports brands in the world. Behind the multi-billion-dollar brand that Nike is today lies a thrilling story that would kick the imagination of anyone that dares to flip through the pages of its history. The rise of Nike starts with the partnership of a track coach and a young runner. Their ultimate goal was to compete with the German Adidas brand by creating capable shoes. Together with a bunch of fellow misfits and rebels, he built the company that eventually ran into the mouth-watering fortune that the Nike brand represents today. This is the true story of the rise of Nike. After returning from the Second World War with an impressive performance, Bill Bowerman was honorably discharged from the U.S. military service. Still filled with life and vigor, Bowerman decided to continue the expression of his innate love for sport and athletics. Thus, he became the head track coach at his alma mater, the University of Oregon, on July 1, 1948. Bowerman did not see sport as a mere recreational exercise. He had a special commitment to the sport. Bowerman would ensure that all the sporting equipment, such as the track and his players' shoes, were in good shape. He went as far as making special shoes for some of his athletes, a gesture that eventually blossomed into a money-making venture. Phil Knight was one of the athletes under Bill Bowerman. He had just completed an MBA at Stanford when he tested one of the shoes made by Bowerman. Impressed by the quality of the shoe, Phil Knight decided to explore the business part of athletic shoes. Knight and Bowerman entered into a business partnership in 1964. While Knight imported shoes from Japan, Bowerman customized them, and they started selling them to athletes in the U.S. The business soon grew into a shoe company which they named Blue Ribbon Sport. It was not long before their newly founded company faced a decisive challenge. Just 7 years into the business, Phil developed an unresolved dispute with the Japanese firm that supplied them with shoes. This dispute led to the termination of their business deal. Phil, faced with the danger of the company running out of shoes and losing its market share to bigger competitors like Adidas, promptly chose the same supplier as Adidas, a shoe factory in Mexico, to become his new supplier. However, there were still plenty of challenges to be solved. The company needed a name to register the new leather soccer shoe it was about to launch into the market. Both the advertising department and the U.S. Patent Office required Phil to file paperwork for his new shoe within a given deadline. The shoe factory also needed the name to complete the shoe design. Phil asked some of his employers to come up with names for the new soccer shoe, but they all had difficulties finding a suitable name. He suggested the name Dimension 6, but it was rejected by the employers for being unspeakably bad. Just before the deadline, Jeff Johnson, the company's first employee, suggested the name Nike, which he adapted from the Greek goddess of victory. Phil found the name catchy and quickly adopted it. To complete the brand outlook, Phil hired a design student from Portland University named Carolyn Davis to create a logo for the company. Davis came up with a curved check mark called the swoosh, and she was paid $35 for her service, which would be about $200 in today's money. In 1987, a creative agency named Wieden & Kennedy coined the famous Nike tagline, "Just Do It," while preparing to launch its first major television campaign. Interestingly, the name Nike, the swoosh logo, and the tagline "Just Do It" are all iconic trademarks that have continued to represent the company worldwide. With these new identities, Nike was ready to take the world by storm. One fascinating thing about the rise of Nike is that there is a genuine attempt in the brand's history to constantly improve customer experience in footwear. It all began with Bill Bowerman's knack for perfection. During his coaching career, he made a waffle iron shoe that aided sprinting. One of his athletes, Otis Davis, would go on to win the 400-meter race with the same shoe at the 1960 Olympics. Bowerman later made other important contributions to the design of Nike that accounted for its successful market campaign in the future. In 1965, the creative genius Bowerman proposed a new shoe design with impressive qualities that was adopted and improved upon to produce some of Nike's best shoe collections. Some of Bowerman's designs include providing the right support for runners with a cushioned inner sole, soft sponge rubber in the forefoot and top of the heel, hard sponge rubber in the middle of the heel, and a firm rubber outsole. Nike has a well-equipped research lab that constantly explores how to improve new shoe designs. Competent researchers from relevant fields like biomedical engineering, biomechanics, kinesiology, mechanical engineering, physics, physiology, sport, and system science are employed in this research lab to help turn out the best innovations that Nike boasts of in the footwear industry. The research lab and Bowerman's creativity combined to create one of the most important collections of Nike, the Nike Air collection, with special features that help athletes levitate. With these innovations in place, Nike would still proceed to pull its biggest demand strategy, placing all its competitors behind and bringing in a fortune worth a lifetime. In the 1980s, Adidas was by far the biggest name in the footwear industry and controlled most operations. Though Nike was a strong competitor, it wasn't considered a threat. Thinking of how to corner more of the market share itself, Nike took a clever step that forever changed its market position. In 1984, Michael Jordan was the hottest basketball star, and Adidas offered to sign a deal with him to promote their brand. Nike also approached Michael Jordan and offered to pay him $500,000 a year for 5 years and the opportunity to design his own line of shoes. Michael Jordan accepted. Nike launched the first version of Air Jordan into the market the following year. The Air Jordan collection became an instant success. It sold a whopping $126 million in the deal's first year. Nike continued to drop a new edition of the shoe throughout Michael Jordan's playing career. Nike went further to partner with other superstars in different industries to promote its brand. Over the years, the brand has teamed up with musicians like Kanye West and Drake, fashion house Dior, jewelry brand Swarovski, Louis Vuitton, artistic director Virgil Abloh, and founder and the head designer of cult Japanese label Undercover Jun Takahashi, and many others. Recently, the brand has also become one of the most valuable brands in the world. Michael Jordan's game-worn, autographed Nike Air Jordan 1s from 1985 sneakers sold for $560,000 at a Sotheby's auction, making them the most expensive sneakers ever. Also one of the rarest and the most desirable sneakers ever made, the Nike Mag, worn by Marty McFly when he time-traveled to 2015 in a 1989 movie titled Back to the Future 2, was sold for $92,100 in 2018. The money raised went to Michael Fox's Foundation for Parkinson's Research. All these partnerships were important to the success of the Nike brand because they spread the brand's popularity beyond the world of sport to music, fashion, and other aspects of popular culture, making Nike one of the leading designer brands in the world today. The Nike brand has continued to grow in leaps and bounds, but there is a downside to this massive success. Just like every other multinational company, Nike has been rocked with different controversies. There are serious allegations against Nike that border around child labor, violation of labor guidelines, paying below minimum wages, exploitation of cheap labor, and tax evasion. Contrary to these allegations, Nike is also widely known for its philanthropic gestures through which it gives back to society through different welfare programs like the Nike Community Impact Fund, which is dedicated to supporting grassroots organizations in communities within the United States and Europe. Today, Nike is a multinational corporation. It currently employs over 79,000 people and operates a total of 1,096 retail stores across different countries in the world. The company is by far the world's largest athletic shoe manufacturer, with an estimated market share of 28% and over $46 billion in revenue for 2022. The iconic swoosh logo will be a big part of sports culture for many years to come. This was the story of the rise of Nike. Before you put on your Nike shoes, please step on that subscribe button. Just do it.